Hey guys, good morning. What is up? Derek from Bom-Bites here. So good to be with you on another exciting episode of Bom-Bites, where we are here to help you feast upon the words of Christ, one bite at a time. So this week for Come Follow Me, we are starting Mosiah 7 through 10. And there's some cool stuff in these chapters. A lot of history, a lot of cool storyline going on, but it does get a little bit of confusion here if you don't understand kind of where this all started. So in order to understand Mosiah 7, you got to backtrack to the book of Omni. And you go to the last few verses of the book of Omni, where you've got Amalekite, who is that fifth writer of the book, all those five guys in the book of Omni. And he talks about how there's a group of individuals. He goes, I want to tell you a little bit, group of individuals who went back. Now, they're in Zarahemla at the time, this land that has been established. There's a group of individuals who wanted to go back to the land of their inheritance, which is the land of Lehi-Nephi, which is currently being inhabited by Lamanites. And so there's a group of people that wanted to go back to get themselves back into that land. And then we don't hear anything about them. We go through King Benjamin's address and everything. And you go to now Mosiah chapter 7, and it says King Mosiah living peacefully in Zarahemla. Things are going good. And he's just like, I wonder what happened to that group of people decades ago that went back to the land of Lehi-Nephi. And there's a cool phrase. He says, for they wearied him with their teasings. And I thought that was kind of funny. He's like, I want to know what happened to these people. So King Mosiah sends back a guy by the name of Ammon, not the guy who went and cut off all the arms. That's later on. This is a different Ammon, and 16 strong men. And he says, guys, go back. I want you to go down to the land, I guess up to the land of Lehi-Nephi. And I want you to go figure out where these people went. And so Ammon and his brethren, they go down there, they check out this land, and automatically they get caught by the king. King's name is Limhi. And Limhi's like, man, you guys are bold. What are you doing here? And Ammon's like, please, hey, we're just here to try to find, years ago, there's a guy by the name of Zeniff, and we wanted to figure out where it happened to him and his people. And Limhi's like, did you say Zeniff? That's my grandpa. Holy cow. He unties them, gives them some food, and gives them a wonderful storyline of what has taken place for the last some odd, probably about 70 or 80 years, about how Zeniff's people came down and so forth. And he goes through in this chapter and he explains everything that's gone on. He says, even like a prophet they have slain, referring to Abinadi, which we'll get into a little bit later. But he's like, now that I know that my people are still alive up in Zarahemla, man, we're currently in bondage to the Lamanites, kind of living in servitude. They're giving a half of their stuff to the Lamanites to live there peacefully. And so he's like, man, we're in bondage. We've got to get out. So he gathers all of his people together. And I love it. They actually gather themselves together at the temple. And the cool thing is, and I didn't realize this, but this temple, the footnote refers you back to 2 Nephi 5. This is where Nephi is the one who built this temple. This is the very temple that Nephi built. So Limhi, King Limhi, gathers his people together, and he says this. I thought this is so cool. This is verse 18. It says, they gather themselves together. He spake unto them, O ye my people, lift up your heads and be comforted. You know, it's interesting. Think about the time period that we're going through right now with some of the difficulties. Apply this same thing. It's kind of cool. Lift up your heads and be comforted. For behold, the time is at hand, or is not far distant, when we shall no longer be in subjection to our enemies, whatever that enemy may be. Notwithstanding our many strugglings, which have been in vain, yet I trust that there remaineth an effectual struggle to be made. There's still some stuff we're going to have to go through to get out of this bondage. 19, therefore lift up your heads and rejoice, and put your trust in God, in that God who was the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and also that God who brought the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, and caused that they should walk through the Red Sea on dry ground, and fed them with manna that they might not perish in the wilderness. And many more things did he do for them. And again, that same God, I love those three words, that same God has brought our fathers out of the land of Jerusalem, and he's kept and preserved his people even until now. And that idea of just this same God, I love this idea, because there's a lot of times in scriptures where prophets will refer to the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, or they will say he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. For example, Nephi, you go back to 1 Nephi chapter 17, where Nephi starts rehearsing all of Israel's history to his brothers, Laman and Lemuel, because they're giving him all kinds of shade about not wanting to build a ship. And he's like, look, Here's what God did. He took our fathers. He gave them manna. He did these things for them. He brought them out of bondage. And if this same God did that, then how is it that he cannot instruct me to build a ship? And so I love this idea. The same God, that same God that helped Moses part the Red Sea, is the same God who is going to help you and I through our difficulties. And he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. That's promised in so many instances. One of my favorite titles of Jesus Christ, that same God, is the great I am. Because if you think about this, I am. He is not I was. He's not I used to be. He's not I was at one point, but sometime I'm hoping to be again. He is the same. He is the great I am. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And I love that idea. So here's King Limhi telling his people, that same God that did that, he's the same God that's going to help us and put our trust in him. So I love that message. I love that message of that same God. It's repeated many times in the Book of Mormon, but I wanted to bring it up right here because he says that same God. And so if you are currently going through some kind of struggle, some kind of bondage, where an enemy of some kind is oppressing you, keep in mind that same God is going to deliver you if you will put your trust in him. And we'll talk more specifically about what that looks like tomorrow as we go through our Bom-Bites tomorrow. Hey, I hope that helps you out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. You guys are wonderful. We just have people just trickling in, and our YouTube is growing, and we're getting all kinds of good feedback. So you guys are so good. Thanks for sharing these messages as well. Keep them going. You guys are wonderful. Thanks for watching, and have an amazing day. And remember that same God in your life. Godspeed. See ya. Bye-bye.